your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, yeah.
All right, Mohr Stories. Put your name on it. Ryan Sickler, the Podcat.
Yeah.
We're down in Irvine. And first of all, you complimented my new shoes, which I like a lot.
Your shoes are fantastic. You smell nice, too, man.
I did the Adam Carolla podcast, and I didn't want to go back to the west side and come down all the way to Irvine Improv. So I went to, like, Hot Topics here in the mall.
Love that it's Hot Topics.
Yeah, everything says, like, all the shoes.
It's all goth and shit.
Yeah, but the shoes say, like, affliction. And you're like, do you have any clothing not for douchebags? Where's your non-douchebag section? Where's the I'm not going to use a triangle choke at the Yard House tonight department?
And they're like, this pair.
Yeah.
That's the section.
Little
this
sensible
pair.
boot, little dock boot.
It's nice, man.
And
like new buck.
Yeah, because I realized I was wearing flip-flops and I wasn't about to do a live show in flip-flops.
You can't do stand-up in flip-flops.
I've seen guys do it.
Who?
I'm not going to name names.
All right, I'm going to research, though.
People we know. This is a neat podcast, and I think you and I are being kind of brave doing this. We have, I guess, is Bill Phillips, is it psychic medium? And you got to really hold that close to your mouth.
It's both, yes. Psychic medium.
Psychic medium is the official, that's what you prefer to be called.
Yes.
And Bill, if something drops into his lap, will read us. We've all agreed to, I guess, be read is the correct nomenclature. Is that how it goes?
Absolutely.
First of all, thank you. And I don't know if this has ever been potted before. It's pretty cool. But I want to pat us on the back. It's kind of brave of us because we don't know what he's going to say.
I'm a little nervous.
We got to. I'm not nervous about what he's going
Anxiety,
to say.
like in a good way.
I'm nervous that he's going to drop some heavy shit on me, and I got to walk out on stage.
Yeah,
They go, Ryan, look, your father's very disappointed that you hang around with so many blacks. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Sickler. You're like, what?
I'm out there sobbing in
He's
between.
crying. He's with your uncle, and he's crying. He's weeping. He's just crying in heaven.
Hilarious.
Now, Bill Phillips doesn't know if I really said that person on purpose.
I know.
Because probably like most people that sit across from you, everyone's a skeptic. Either they're full on into it, I would guess. And there's no interrupting. Don't worry. You can just pile in. Or I would guess that a majority of people that see you go, I'm not going to answer him. I'm going to let him tell me because they're so skeptical.
It really depends on the person. I do have those that are very open to it. I also have like these big, burly men that come to see me privately. No
so
one
does
else
Ryan,
knows about
but
it.
not for readings.
I know about that too. No, I'm just kidding. But different now.
It's a bear otter party.
A bear podcast.
But they come in and they think that they are, okay, let's see what happens here. What's going to come through? And they leave crying usually. They leave very emotional because they had no idea that they were going to hear from someone else that passed over or the details that were going to come through for them. So it really depends on the person, the day.
Do you sense when people are being specifically vague because they want to really make you earn it? Or are you so specific when you land something that they can't even be vague anymore?
It depends on the person that wants to come through, the day, the circumstance. But typically, I don't want any information during a read, like yes or no answers. Okay. And because what happens is that if you tell me too much, it's going to get into my brain, and it's going to interfere with the correct channel versus my mind channel versus my physical channel. MIND, yeah. So, for example, I've worked with separating my intuitive voice, like my spiritual voice, how I hear them from my left brain, my mind voice. Does that make sense at all to you? Like
it makes sense to me sitting across from a psychic medium. If you were anyone else, I'd say that guy's fucking crazy.
For example, let's say that the phone rings and you know who it is. It's happened to everyone, right? And you can't really explain it, but it's the voice in your head that it's like your gut feeling.
Yeah.
That I've sort of worked with and channeling more intensely with myself. That they work with with me and giving messages to somebody else.
Do you want real quick? Do you
Sure.
want to switch seats because you're on a stool and it might get very uncomfortable for you because you're the only one
I'm
working.
thinking about that a little bit.
Yeah,
I
sit where
maybe-
I'm sitting, and I'll
Okay.
sit in the stool because I don't care. Or we could all just sit together. Oh, you're too big. Ryan's too heavy for us all to sit together.
Yeah. This is a 2-seater cast.
When
It's a love
you
seat.
and this is yours, Bill.
It's a love seat right here. I have 2 questions, and now I think I forgot them. One is, what percentage of people do you feel come in like, this is going to be bullshit, and then go away like, holy crap? And the other question, I'm going to try to remember when you answer that one.
Okay. I would say it's probably 50-50.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
I have
way
a
too
question.
fast
When
for me to
you,
remember the other one.
oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. What-
No. Please.
How old were you when you realized you had this gift?
That's
Is
a
it a
great
gift?
question.
Is it a gift, or is it a curse, or is it just simply a duty?
I think it's all the above, actually, to be honest. I feel like, first and foremost, it's a obligation that's been put onto my lap. Like it's with anything, it's in my DNA. It's my talent, you know. So for you, it's acting. It's my talent. So I've worked on it, on honing it, and I was about 14 when I had my first real like major experience. My mother passed away very tragically, and she came to me that night in a dead sleep, and she woke me up, and I thought I was crazy. I saw her in the room. I saw this illumination of light around her, and she just told me, "I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay, and you're gonna be okay." And that's all that it was. And after that time, that night, all these things started happening to me. I was walking in the mall one day, and a psychic approached me and said, "You have this amazing gift. It'll be 3 years, and when that happens, you will help many people." So 3 years later, I was randomly drove to this metaphysical spiritual store, and they were doing a class on how to develop your own intuition and mediumship. And I walked in, and I sat down with a complete stranger, and they said, "Okay, just close your eyes and tell us what you're getting." And I thought, okay. So I closed my eyes, and I saw a silhouette of a blonde female. So I said, "I'm seeing like a blonde female right here." And the girl said, "Okay, no response. Keep on going. What else do you see?" And then I saw a J initial, which it was actually in my physical eye. I saw a J initial going by. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a J initial. I don't know what it means. And then I saw pill bottles being spilled over a table, like in my mind's eye. All over a table, completely overflowing the table. Thank you. And they asked, okay, well, how would you interpret that? And I thought, okay, well, pills over table, overdose. And I felt all this love from this energy, I guess you would say. And opened my eyes, and the girl was crying profusely because her best friend Julie died of a drug overdose. It was a suicide, and it was my first time actually ever having that experience with someone else that was not known to me, a complete stranger.
I bet you probably cried too. It must be really overwhelming, or is it scary?
At first, I didn't believe it. I thought it was in my head. I was making it up. I thought I was crazy. Like it was either some kind of like.
Even with the validation, you thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I was 18 at that time, and I practiced for a few months. People were coming to see me, and they got stronger and stronger and stronger. And but I was still very afraid of it. I was raised in a very Christian household where I was told it was the devil's work. So I stopped doing it for a little bit. I went to school for music, and when I was there, it was happening again. And I was getting really sick, but I was still like having these visions. People were coming to me still for readings. And once I graduated, I just knew I had to do it again. So I started doing it again, and it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And it opened up more and more and more. And I just trusted it more and more and more. And so basically for me, it's not really, I don't actually see a dead person. I don't see a physical body. Now it's progressed where I basically am getting thoughts and visions and feelings that I have to interpret and trust that's from them and relay them, basically give them to you. So
Can you explain? I once saw someone who I won't say because for all I know they're a charlatan, and it's a well-known. For all I know, it's a well-known charlatan. So anyone that's a medium that I've ever heard of, I won't say their names.
okay.
But I once heard a medium explain that it's like the blades of a ceiling fan, and they slip through in between as the ceiling fan goes around. The deceased that have a message. They sort of slip through, the blades of the ceiling fan. They come through in shards of light like that.
That's a good analogy too. There's so many different analogies. How I view it is that once I see a door in my head open up, basically, and I feel all these energies that want to come through the door and communicate, and some are stronger, some are weaker. So let's say that in life somebody was very dominant, very aggressive, they probably will come through the strongest in a reading. If somebody wasn't as aggressive, they were more soft-spoken, they weren't as dominant, they were more shy, they probably are going to hang out on the end and not come through as strongly.
Do you feel an obligation to reach them?
I do. I do when the person that comes wants to hear from them and they're not being cooperative with me. Then I'm like, please, give me more, give me more. So in a reading, it can consist of like 2 main specific validations over a half an hour time, or it can consist of the whole thing being boom, 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 fact after fact after fact in the reading. I have no control over it at all. I'm just trusting what they're putting into my mind and giving it to the person that comes to see me.
Can you shut that off at any time? Like, can you close that door?
He means now. He's tired of it. Ryan Sickler has a horrible attention span. He just wants the Orioles. Just put the Orioles game on.
Who's going to win the World Series? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, a serious question. Can you shut that off? Like, you say they come through this door. Can you close that door and keep that out?
Almost fully.
Almost.
It's
are you ever driving down the freeway and be like, shut up? Like
no, not anymore. I've not. I mean, unless they're very, very. Yeah, but now it's much more subtle now for me. I feel like, but for me, and I'm sure that you've heard this before. That for me, it's like a frequency. It's like a radio, and you've heard that before, I'm sure. But that's really how it is. It's like I can turn the radio. It's a broken radio. I can turn the radio down. I can't turn it off. I'm always hearing like zzz in my head. To a certain degree, but it's not intense like you think it is. It's very, very subtle. That's why, for me, I had to actually slow myself down, meditate, and get more in touch with that subtleness that was their way of trying to come through and talk to me.
I always try to take the position of the listener. When I had my priest on, I knew that there were people. I always played devil's advocate, even though, he's my priest. Mm-hmm. And with you, I'll do the same. And I'm just sort of speaking for a contingency of doubters out there. A lot of people will say, guys that are psychic mediums or gals that are psychic mediums, they pull a letter and you kind of construct this thing until you hit, and you can kind of tell when you look out at a crowd and a group of people who's most likely to hit. Like, hey, you had trouble. What's going on with you and your dad? And you see a girl's face drop, and you pounce on that. I'm not saying that's what you do.
No.
But I'm saying that's, I think, a consensus of most of the doubters out
we
there.
had Corolla on the crab feast, and that's exactly what he said.
Corolla said it's all malarkey?
Yeah, he said the same thing, like you'll hit points until you get something, you grab on, and then...
So what's Corolla, an authority on that now? All of a sudden he's the authority?
But he did know this was coming, so...
It's almost like a psychic... can tell things that are going to happen, whereas a psychic medium, you're almost like a jigsaw puzzle historian.
That's a good way of saying it.
That's all the time we have. It's Bill Phillips.
Goodbye.
And your website is billphillips.com.
With 1 L and 2 P's.
Yeah, BILLPHILIPPS.com. I just like saying PP because I'm a child. That's billphillips.com. And if you hit a Verizon page, you spelt it wrong. That's really how it works on the interweb, isn't it?
Or there's someone else named Bill Phillips who's an actual a health guru author. That's not who I am. So... Not the...
and for the real quick, sorry, Ryan, then we'll get to you, obviously, super quick after this, but for the listeners to paint a picture for them, because you got, like, there's the older heavy gal that looks like Nancy Grace after a stroke, and then there's, like, the young guy that's got, then there's, like, kind of like the young hot guy, and then, but you are like a young hot guy. Like, for the listeners, like, you're young, you don't have to say your age if you don't want to, but, like,
I'm 28. I just turned 28.
You're 28, and you were, like, to me, like, judging a book by its cover, you're a total, like, Huntington Beach guy. You're tan, you got flip-flops. Respect the pedicure, by the way.
Thank you.
I like that pedi. That's tight, man.
It's tight, man. You got nice toenails,
so
man.
you're not a guy that like you look to me like a guy that played volleyball at like Pepperdine, and instead you have this. I'm being serious. Angie's laughing, but I'm being completely serious. Like you're really like a regular, handsome-looking guy that has dead people talking to him.
Yes. Yeah, I really have to separate it. Otherwise, I'm going to be floating up there the whole time, every day of my life. And I want to have some groundedness in my life and not always be talking to them. So I like to do things that keep me grounded, But I'm a regular person. I'm not some...
Man.
And
like new buck.
Yeah, because I realized I was wearing flip-flops and I wasn't about to do a live show in flip-flops.
You can't do stand-up in flip-flops.
I've seen guys do it.
Who?
I'm not going to name names.
All right, I'm going to research, though.
People we know. This is a neat podcast, and I think you and I are being kind of brave doing this. We have, I guess, is Bill Phillips, is it psychic medium? And you got to really hold that close to your mouth.
It's both, yes. Psychic medium.
Psychic medium is the official, that's what you prefer to be called.
Yes.
And Bill... All right, Mohr Stories. Put your name on it. Ryan Sickler, the Podcat.
Yeah.
We're down in Irvine. And first of all, you complimented my new shoes, which I like a lot.
Your shoes are fantastic. You smell nice, too, man.
I did the Adam Carolla pod. If something drops into his lap, will read us. We've all agreed to, I guess, be read is the correct nomenclature. Is that how it goes?
Absolutely.
First of all, thank you. And I don't know if this has ever been potted before. It's pretty cool. But I want to pat us on the back. It's kind of brave of us because we don't know what he's going to say.
I'm a little nervous.
We got to. I'm not nervous about what he's going
Anxiety,
to say.
like in a good way.
I'm nervous that he's going to drop some heavy shit on me, and I got to walk out on stage.
Yeah,
they go, Ryan, look, your father's very disappointed that you hang around with so many blacks, ladies and.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts. Oh, yeah!
Hey, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to the west side and come down all the way to Irvine Improv. So I went to like Hot Topics here in the mall.
Love that it's Hot Topics.
Yeah, everything says like all the shoes.
It's all goth and shit.
Yeah, but the shoes say like affliction. And you're like, do you have any clothing not for douchebags? Where's your non-douchebag section? Where's the I'm not going to use a triangle choke at the Yard House tonight department?
And they're like, this pair.
Yeah.
That's the section.
Little
this
sensible
pair.
boot, little dock boot.
It's nice.